I'm letting people in. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome. So,
Thank you.
just a few words about the way we work. So, it will be mostly Mike doing all the job, and I am here to support you and him. It will probably take about an hour or so. We'll have a short introduction from Mike, then an exercise for everyone, and then feedback sessions with those who know they are taking part. I have volunteers. And yeah, then you can ask any questions. Actually, I encourage you to write those questions in the chat. I will be keeping track of that before you forget. So just don't um, hesitate to write the question, but wait for the answer to come by the end of the session. You are definitely allowed to watch us work without your camera or microphone on, just as it is comfortable for you. But we will be happy to see your faces as well. So it's totally up to you. No restrictions here, apart from the feedback sessions. In that part of the conversation, of course, we will need the volunteers to be present with the cameras and microphones. So the meeting is being recorded, and everybody who signed up, who wanted to see it, to take part in it somehow, will get the recording. It will be posted in my EngPower Network Facebook group. So you will never lose anything, even if you have to do something in between and so on. Don't worry, you'll get the recording. So I guess this is about it with the things, the management issues, so to say. And now I am giving the floor to Michael to introduce himself and start working with you.
Thanks, Evgenia. Can everybody hear me? Yeah. Okay. Great. Good. It's nice to see a lot of friendly faces. I hope friendly. Okay. My name's Mike Sayer. I'm a English teacher. I'm a teacher trainer, and I've also had a career in writing books as well. I wrote Headway teachers books, straightforward teachers books. So mostly what I've written is teachers books and workbooks and materials like that. Okay. And one thing that I've been really interested in recently is phonology, is how do we actually improve our understanding of problem sounds, of stress, of intonation. And my wife is Russian. So I've got this insight into the particular problems that Russian learners have when they try to speak English. Okay, and in particular, trying to get Russian speakers are often told that they sound too direct, or that their pronunciation sounds a little bit flat to the English ear. So in particular, I'm interested in that area. So in today's hour, I'm going to start by looking at one thing that we can work on in order to avoid sounding a little bit flat, a little bit well, if you listen to the way I speak, I tend to actually make some pretty strong sounds and some pretty weak sounds. So how do we actually get our voices and our ears around producing that kind of sound? Okay, so I'm going to start by sharing a screen with you. Okay. Here we go. Okay.
Yeah, it works. We
Yes,
could.
it works. But it works, but I can't see any faces anymore. Okay.
Would you like me to share your presentation then? I
Um,
I could do that. Uh, I could.
okay. No. Well, no. It's fine. It's fine. Can everybody? Can everybody see the screen? Okay, because
Not
um,
now. Not now. You are not sharing it at the moment. You
okay.
were, so
Okay. Sorry, everybody. Okay. I'm going to what? All right. You can see me. I'm going to just fill you in first of all. I'm going to look at the sound, the very weak sound that we make when we that we okay, the very weak sound that English people produce between when. Sorry, I'm going to start again. I'm going to show you my screen and give you a presentation. Right, here we go. Okay, can people see my screen?
yeah, it works.
Okay, great. Okay, when we speak, when English people speak, they use strong stresses and weak stresses. So, for example, with this sound we when you say the small function words in English, like and, is reduced to an n sound. For is produced to a f sound. Of is reduced to an of sound. Okay, and one way that we can practice that sort of sound is to use songs or chants or things of that nature. Okay. So I'm going to practice that with a chant which is called "This is the house that Jack built." Have people heard of that chant before?
In Russian, definitely.
And in Russian, definitely. Okay. If you have a look at the picture that you can see here, we've got Jack, who's a builder and builds houses, and this is a house.
Yeah, you have to scroll it, change the slide.
Can you see that?
Yeah, we can only see the first slide and all the slides like this, the line of slides. So you have to change slides to actually scroll it.
Like this.
Still not changing. I see the very first slide with the picture of the brain.
Okay. Can you see the slides here?
Not yet. How about I share it and you tell me when to scroll, right?
Thank you very much.
So this is the picture, right? And now you can see people.
And that's what I wanted. I wanted to be able to see some people, including myself. Okay, so I can relax now. I apologize for that. The technology has defeated me. Thank you very much.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay,
That's why
right,
we are.
let's start again. Okay, if we go back to the original slide, Jane, if that's okay with you. Okay, okay. When we're trying to improve our accent in English, one thing that I think that is important to think about is that English, which is a stress time language, just like Russian, has very strong stresses, so that our pitch goes slightly up and we make a strong stress when we say the important word in the sentence. However, what English does, which Russian doesn't do, is that it weakens the little sounds. The for becomes f, and becomes n, than becomes thun, that becomes th. These little sounds are very, very reduced. And in my experience of working with Russians who are trying to improve their English, is that although they stress English very nicely, they tend to give too much value to the weak sounds. Okay? So, for example, Russians might say, he's bigger than me. Whereas English people would say, he's bigger than me. He's bigger than me. And that the weak sounds become very, very, very weak. And it feels very strange to a Russian speaker trying to produce those kinds of weak sounds. Okay?
Yeah, that's how we have been taught at school. Like every sound should be like
Absolutely. And one thing that Russians, I mean, I work with some Russian speakers who live in England, who speak English very nicely, but they say it sounds like I'm being lazy. It sounds like I'm not speaking properly if I say all the time. And even English people will tell me, I don't say that sounds lazy. But no, English people, in order to actually get the rhythm right, we tend to make the strong sounds very strong and the weak sounds really, really weak. So what we're going to do is to work with this chant called "This is the house that Jack built," to get over the idea that you produce weak sounds very, very weak in English. Okay, so if you go to the first picture, please, Jane, thank you. Scroll to the first picture. I've got a picture of Jack, who's a builder, and he builds things, and a picture of the house that Jack built. So listen to me say that sentence. This is the house that Jack built. This is the house, there's a strong stress, house, that Jack built. So notice how I said that. I don't say that, I say that.
almost nothing there. Yeah, almost nothing. As if there were no words at all.
Absolutely. You reduce it to this little sound. And I don't even say the t, I catch it in my throat. That this is the house that Jack built. This is the house that Jack built. Try to say it yourself. This is the house that Jack built. This is the house that Jack built. You're really catching, you're really reducing that down to such a small sound in order to get the English rhythm. This is the house. This is the house that Jack built. This is the house that Jack built. Okay, good. This is the house that Jack built. If we go to the next picture, as part of this children's rhyme, the next thing is that we talk about malt in Jack's house. Okay, I don't know. I'm now echoing greatly. Can you still hear me, guys? Okay, so in this picture, we've got some malt. Malt is a type of grain that you can use to make beer or bread. Okay, and here we've got some malt. So we can say, this is the malt that lay, this is the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. So we're changing, again, we've got this word that, which is the key word in our little story, but we're reducing it to a little sound. This is the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. Okay? Try saying that. This is the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. And the only way to get your rhythm right is to make sure that you're reducing that to this little sound. This is the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. Okay, Jane, can we have the next picture? The rat. This rat came and he stole the malt and he ate it all. Okay. So if we think about our rhyme, it goes a bit like this. This is the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. Notice that I'm reducing ate to et, partly because the rhythm is improved, but it's perfectly okay to say ate, but I like the word et, which is also correct pronunciation. This is the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. So I'm making the keywords rat, malt, house, Jack strong, and I'm reducing the that. Let's try it again. This is the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. Try saying that. This is the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. Great. I can see some faces really trying to actually say this, which is great to hear. Okay. All right. If we go to the next picture, we get to the cat. Okay, a lovely cat here. And this is the cat that killed the rat. So we're building up our story and our rhythm. This is the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. So we've got quite a lot of sentences to put together. I'll do it one more time and then you can have a go. This is the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. Okay. I don't know if, yeah, okay, good. This is the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. Okay, and if we move to the final picture, okay, here we've got a picture of a dog. It says this is the dog that worried the cat. Worried is a slightly old-fashioned way to in this context to say that he kind of chased the cat and got the cat really anxious and annoyed. Yeah. So to worry somebody is to in this context means to annoy them rather than make them worried. Okay. This is the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. Okay, one more time. This is the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. Right. I don't know if there's anybody who wants to switch on their microphone and have a go at this, and we can see if you said it right.
Yeah,
sure.
Jane, do you want to?
No. I was asking for volunteers.
Yeah. So
yes,
I'll model it one
time.
I'm going to do it. Excuse me. I'm going to do it one more time, and then you do it. This is the dog that killed the rat. Sorry. This is the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built.
Okay, now, Misha, you were the first, right? So can you please write it all in the chat if you volunteer to try it yourself? So I've seen Misha want to try and probably someone else. And Katya, right? Okay, so Misha, you go first, then Katya.
Okay, let me try this. So, this is a dog that worried the cat, that killed the rat, that ate the malt, that lay in the house that Jack built.
Okay, lovely. That's great, Misha. I like your rhythm. The rhythm's really nice.
Yeah,
okay.
Rhythm is nice.
Katya, now.
Can I just say one thing, Misha? Is that you could even reduce that more, yeah? Okay, so it's not that, it's the so this is the dog
the dog that worried the cat, that killed the rat, that ate the malt, that lay in the house that Jack built.
Okay, lovely.
I'm trying not to pronounce that. Where's the cat that kills the rat? Just it's some part of the set.
Yeah, it's quite hard.
In the house that Jack built.
Quite hard, right? So Katya, now you go.
Okay. This is the dog that worried the cat, that killed the rat, that ate the mold, that lay in the house that Jack built.
Okay, lovely. Okay, again, good. You got a nice rhythm to all that. The thing is that we can really reduce that sound. You almost like kind of want to imagine that you don't say it. So this is the dog that worried the really catch the sound. This is the dog that worried the cat. One thing that we can do is actually really stress the verb so that you forget the. This is the dog that worried the cat, that killed the rat, that ate the mole. Okay, but that was nice. Yeah, good.
Okay, one
Yeah.
more, right, Irina? Now your turn.
This is the dog that worried the cat, that killed the rat, that ate the mold, that lay in the house that Jack built.
Okay, nice. Again, you got the rhythm nicely there. You can reduce that to even more. Yeah,
Right.
it really is. It is really. I think this is a nice activity to practice because it's almost a psychological thing. I have to say the words. You don't. This is the dog that catch it. This is the dog that worried the cat. Okay, nice.
Fine. So we have 3 more volunteers. Yeah, I guess we have the time. So Luda, now you.
Okay. This is the dog that worried the cat, that killed the rat, that ate the mole, that lay in the house that Jack built.
Nice, like that. That was good. You really reduced the that really nicely.
Nastya.
Okay, I'll try. This is the dog that worried the cat, that killed the rat, that had the mole, that lay in the house that Jack built.
Okay, good, nice.
I don't hear the words at all, right?
Can I just say the linking with that one there, the tet the malt. Try that. The tet the malt.
That had the mole.
That et the malt.
That at the mole.
Okay,
At
nice.
the mole.
Good. Yeah.
The tet. It's like T goes
That at.
at, right?
Yeah. You're losing the t. The et the malt.
The tet. Malt.
Okay, good.
And Victoria, the last one.
This is the dog that worried the cat, that killed the rat, that ate the mold, that lay in the house that Jack built.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good. House. Yeah, the word house had
House.
a soft h on it. House.
House.
Yeah, you're making your house a bit house.
House.
Better. Okay, but I thought the rhythm there was very nice, Victoria. Yeah.
You will all get the recording and the presentation so that you could try it yourself as many times as you like.
Can I just say one last thing about this? Is that okay? When I went to Spain once to study Spanish, and my Spanish teacher said I sound like a baby. And that's because English people really stress the prominent word, the really important word in a phrase, and they really weaken it. So when you practice doing the chant like this, just try to really exaggerate. This is the dog that worried the cat, that killed the rat, that ate the malt, that lay in the house that Jack built. And the more you stress, the kind of in a strange way, the more English it sounds.
Wow. So it's like you're trying to really make people understand you. Like, I told you, this is the
Well, I hope I'm not saying it too much, but I think that it's anyway that one of the secrets of improving your English accent is to recognize the very weak sound and the very strong sound, and to exaggerate the difference.
Oh. So what do I do with the presentation now, Mike? Do I close it or do I scroll it further? I guess I close it, right? For now, for the feedback.
Let's close it for now. Yeah, I think that we'll finish there.
Yep. So if you have any questions, please write them down in the chat now. We will get them answered at the end of the session. So just don't forget. So, and the feedback sessions are starting now, and I have 3 volunteers here. And the first one will be Nadia. So, Nadia, can you please unmute? So, Nadia is one of my clients. So, everybody who is getting feedback here now are my clients. So this is a privilege for you, which I'm happy to offer. Thank you, Mike, again. So Nadia, will you please introduce yourself? Yeah, kind of couple words.
So who's Nadia? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Nadia. Hello.
Yeah, hello. So, as Zhenya said, I am Nadia, and I live in Serbia. So we moved here almost 3 years ago, and we used to live in Moscow. I am an English teacher. And it's so nice to listen to you because I can understand every word. It's so cool because usually when I listen to English-speaking people, I feel nervous because this feeling that you cannot understand annoys and makes me nervous. So thank you so much.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, this is the success situation we all need so desperately. Like, I spoke to a native speaker and I understood him. This is not the experience that we get all the time. So yeah, this is really nice to have it.
Well, no, that's great. That's good to hear. Okay. But you're slightly. I mean, your English is lovely, Nadia. You slightly surprised me. I'm going to ask one or two of the things that you asked, which will give me a chance just to hear you again. It's probably better with the question. So where exactly are you, Nadia?
In Serbia.
Where's that?
It's a country which is.
Oh, you're in Serbia. I'm sorry. Yeah, of course. I thought it was a region of Russia or something. In Serbia. Okay. Good. Okay, and what do you do in Serbia?
We live here with my family. I'm married. I have a husband and children. They are 12 and 14. They go to Serbian school, and here I teach English online. So my husband works online too.
Okay.
And we try to travel. Not a lot because we have some troubles with getting visa, but we love that and we travel around Serbia.
I think that you have to have a sense of humor in these difficult days, at these difficult times, aren't they, in the world? Okay, good. And what do you do in your free time?
Free time. Okay. I don't have much, but when I have, I'm a great fan of coffee, and I like sitting outside and having a good cup of coffee. And I walk a lot. Then I like watching films and serials. And I like different kind of things around
Different
my
kinds
house.
of.
So yeah, so I like cooking,
Oh, right.
cleaning.
Okay.
So I feel relaxed when I do something with my hands, and that let my head stop working, and I just can move and think of nothing.
Okay, great. Thanks, Nadia. It's always difficult when people start asking you questions about yourself. You know, what am I supposed to like? It's really good. Okay, right. Well, I'm here to give you some feedback on your pronunciation. Yeah. And the first thing that I would say, you caught me out the first time because, to be honest, your pronunciation was very good, and I was just thinking, oh, she sounds really natural. It sounds it's very clear, your pronunciation. I felt that what we were talking about in the house that Jack built, that your voice isn't flat. You have you're stressing clearly. The weak sounds are clear. All very nice. I'm going to pick out if I was to give you a kind of area to focus on, I would pick out two things. One is I picked out the pronunciation of much and cup of coffee and work and hands. Okay. One thing that Russian is different from with English is the fact that Russian only has, I'm probably Serbian as well, as far as I know, a small number of vowel sounds in comparison to English. So English has all these different long sounds and these different sounds. So there's a subtle difference between like hat and hut and heart and hurt. Yeah. So when I heard your much, it was more like a match. So I think that the longer R sound is one area to work on. Is with minimal pairs where you have to listen to things. Now, I think you would probably be able to hear it, no problem. But I think just in terms of practicing it, it's this symbol that you use with an upside down V, where we say much and cup and put. And it sounds very similar to pat or part. It's put, it's cup. So I would pick that particular sound. There's also the longer sounds, like your work was a bit short, work. It's worth exaggerating those long sounds, like laugh was a word you used as well, and work and earn, those long sounds. And the other area that I would look at actually is d and t. One thing that Russian speakers tend to do is to almost produce a sound that's between a d and t. Yeah. So, for example, when you said the word hands, there's a t sound in your hands. And I think this one thing that I know that is typical Russian speakers is when you have at the end of a word that Russian speakers sometimes make voice sounds unvoiced. So a typical problem would be to say we went to the I have a new job instead of job. You didn't say that, but some Russian speakers would. And I thought I noticed that a couple of times, this idea of like hands. So it's practicing the differentiation between the t and the d sound, or the k and the g sound at the end of words.
Wow.
Now, they're quite small technical areas, but that's because your pronunciation is really, really good. So it's just those areas that I would pick out. The long sounds, the unvoiced sounds at the ends of words.
Yeah, thank you so much. Because
I hope that's useful.
Zhenya said that I will have feedback from a British person, from a teacher, I was scared because, oh my God, what would happen if he can hear my mistakes? But I see that it's not scary. Thank you so much for your such lovely feedback.
I'm glad it's not scary. I'm not glad it's not scary, but you're okay. Great.
Okay,
You're
thank you so much.
supposed to make it not that scary. Okay, Natasha, can you please unmute and come here?
Hi.
Hi, Tata. Should we do the same thing as I belatedly did with Nadia? Because Nadia very bravely told me all sorts of things. But I'll ask you questions. Yeah.
Okay.
So
if I understand them, I hope. I will try.
Yeah, great. Where are you, Tasha?
I'm in England now.
Oh, okay.
I moved here from Moscow. Have been moved here from Moscow for 1 year and a half. I have been living here.
Okay. I was going to correct you again, but no. You probably said I moved here if it was the past, yeah, and I have been here if it's up to now, yeah.
Yeah, for 1 year and a half here.
And
I
have 1.5 years. Okay, great. All right,
okay.
Great. Where in the UK?
Near the London. It's a small town, walking near the London.
near London. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very nice place, and I love being here, and I love weather here.
You love the weather.
Yeah,
Nobody
very.
loves English weather. What do you love about
I
English weather?
I love the weather here. I don't like very hot weather and very and I don't see a lot of snow here, and it's very good for me. I can walk without very warm clothes here, and I love it. And it's very there are a lot of flowers in the spring here, and I love walking on the park here. It's very beautiful.
That's nice to hear. Okay, great. My wife misses snow
Oh, really? No,
because we never get.
it's not about me.
But you're right. The good thing about England is that you don't freeze to death in the winter. It's always mild. Okay, great, Tasha. Shall I give you a little bit of feedback? Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay.
It will be great. Yeah.
Great. Well, you expressed yourself very nicely. I think there was a couple of sounds that I would really suggest you work on. One is that I think you live in Woking.
Woking?
Woking.
Walking.
Yeah.
Walking. Okay, yeah.
Woking. And I also noticed it when you said the word don't, yeah, which was, you kind of said don't. It's don't. The English, yeah, this is a sound that Russian speakers often find very difficult. It's Russian has a fronted o, which I can't do because my Russian is terrible. Whereas English uses a diphthong, which is made up, if you studied it, of an and a sort of u, o. So to make the o sound, we have to start with an which means your tongue in the middle of your mouth, and then to move the tongue back and round your mouth. So don't. So it's almost,
don't.
That's it. That's good.
I don't.
So don't. Woking.
It's surprising for me.
Stone.
Don't.
Flow. Go. So you need to imagine that it's not. The problem, I think, is that because Russian has an O sound, which is different from the English one, is that it's easy and natural just to use that Russian sound. And it's okay, we understand what you mean, but it's not the right sound. The English sound is a diphthong, which means it's made up of two sounds, and o. So you have to move your mouth from an soft, where your lips are soft, and then it rounds. So you can practice that with lots of different words like flow, go, bow, sow, stone. Okay. And especially because you live there, Woking.
Woking. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. The other thing that I pick up, which because we've just done it, is that the little function words need to be unstressed. So you were saying I can do, and it's I can, because it's not a stressed word. So I can go for a walk, I can play outside, I can sing and dance. Notice how English reduces those little words and then stresses the important words. Yeah. Okay. Because England is very mild, I can go walking when I want. Yeah.
So this is the place, Natasha, right here.
We found Woking.
Yeah.
Here's London.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Tasha. And we have
Thank you. It's very interesting.
Yeah, we
Okay.
have 2 questions already, and we are going to have one more feedback session. Then Mike will say a few words about the other ways to practice with him, not only in this session, but you have the chance to go on working with Michael. And we'll finalize this meeting with answering the questions that we have collected so far. So, Katya, please unmute.
Yes, hello.
Here you go.
So, do I have to do some self-presentation or something like that?
Yeah,
No, I'll do the same as I did with Tasha. Where are you, Katya?
I am in Estonia, Tallinn.
All right. Oh, wow, lovely.
Yeah.
What's the weather like?
Well, it's I don't know. It seems quite cold, and there is a snow outside.
Okay, good. And what do you do in Tallinn?
I live here. I was born in Estonia, and yes, I never lived in Russia. So, but Russian is my first language, and Estonian is the second. Yes, and I learn. Yes, and I studied English in school, and then university, and so on. But I'm actually a polyglot, but I struggle with pronunciation in every language I learn. And I do not pick sounds by ear. I cannot just listen to native speakers and mimic them. I don't know. I need to practice a lot to get the pronunciation right.
Okay, what do you do to try to improve your pronunciation?
Yeah, it depends on the language because for Estonian I had a practical phonetics course in the university. And as for English, I take a pronunciation course, but it just started. So I believe my pronunciation hasn't improved much since then. Yeah, and I also tend to forget everything that I learned when I start speaking. Like yes, in a flow, I don't know. I stop producing the sounds I learned, and I speak as I always do. Yeah, so I don't know when this process will change. I have no idea.
Okay.
But also, I'm sorry, yeah.
No, good. I was just going
No.
to ask, and to what extent do you use English in everyday life? What do you do it as part of your job? What do you? Yeah.
Yes, it actually is a part of my job, and as I started teaching English, I do not teach every day, but still I have like at least 3 or 4 hours a week when I teach, and also I learn English and I learn in English. I study methodology now. It is in English, and I do not remember. And also I have a study buddy partner, but she's from Canada. And
Right.
whenever I speak to her, I do not want to sound ridiculous, you know, because she speaks this like Canadian or American with Canadian or American accent, and when I start to produce these British sounds, she kind of cannot stop but laughing.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with a Canadian accent. I think
No.
it's probably a good accent to learn, actually.
But I want I want to learn British accent. That's the
Yeah.
accent I like.
Okay, good. Great. Well, what listening to you, Katya, what I hear is somebody who's you're very confident in English. You've got clearly got a high level of vocabulary and use. You're very accurate in your English, and also what I actually think you're okay. The way you produce sounds is very good. Yeah, I'm hearing the long sounds. I'm hearing short sounds, etc. I would pick up two things, and I think they're linked. Okay. One is that it's noticeable that you say do not and cannot and I will. So you're not. So that's probably from your studies, the way that you've studied the language, that you're not reducing the function words to retractive forms. So rather than saying I don't or I can't or I'll. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah. I did. I haven't noticed that actually.
Okay. Right. You said I haven't noticed it, which is good. You
Yeah.
haven't. That's great. But English people do not, and Canadians don't go around saying I do not, I cannot, I have not, I will.
That's
We
true.
say I'll. We say can't. We say don't. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do say do not, it sounds like you're stressing the words. Yeah.
Yeah, like
I
I'm
do not
emphasizing.
want to do that. Yeah. so you get out of that habit. Yeah.
Great. Yes,
I
great
don't,
idea.
I
Yeah,
can't, etc. And I think that will help with the other thing, because the only thing that's really noticeable, Katya, is that your tone range is narrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's interesting that what you told me was that you, in your studies of pronunciation, that you feel you're not making progress, or you feel you're a bit stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it sounds to me as though you've actually cracked a lot of the issues. You know, I heard you say learn with a long sound. I heard you produce differentiating between some of the difficult vowel sounds. So your actual production of sounds was very good, but your tone range was too narrow.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was working with you, I wouldn't be worrying about problem sounds. I'd be working on pitch, what we're talking about with the house that Jack built, the idea of the difference between prominent sounds and weak sounds. Yeah. I mean, okay, I don't know how I'm doing for time, but one thing that's important with English is that, for example, if you ask somebody, where are you from? We don't say, where are you from?
Mm-hmm.
We say, where are you from? That much more than English, and a lot more than Latin languages like Italian and Spanish, we will give prominence to the key word. So one thing, so it's almost like we eat the words and then give prominence. So we'd say, and we could, where is stress, but secondary stress. Are and you are eaten and reduced to y. And then from is a great big fat bang word. Where are you from? And I think that that's the issue that I would work on with you, Katya, is that you're spelling out words. You're speaking clearly. You're saying the sounds right, but you're not giving prominence to big words, and you're not reducing the small words.
The funny, yes, it makes sense. And the funny thing is that in Russian we do reduce some vowels. Like we have a lot of those schwa in but we do not do it with little words, but with any words, like zametila, something like that.
I think. I mean, Russian is a stress time language, just like English. But my understanding, my Russian isn't very good. I'm trying to learn Russian, but it's not very good. But my understanding is the difference is that in Russian, you do give more value to the smaller sound. So you need to exaggerate that a bit more. But also that in Russian, stress comes with the length of a sound, whereas in English, stress comes with the slight rise of pitch of a sound. So there's a slight difference in the way that we stress, which is a bit technical. But there's a difference between saying, where are you from? And the difference between saying, where are you from? Okay.
Yeah.
And it's to do with pitch. But the key thing here is just exaggerating that difference in tone. And I think that would be something that you could work on and would make quick and rapid progress, Katya, because your English is very, very good.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, everyone, please write your insights, the things that you've learned so far, in the chat. And I would like Mike to tell a few words about the course that you are now offering. So how does it basically work? How long it takes? Is it a group or individual sessions? Like, how could people learn more from you?
Okay, right. I'm just getting making sure I say the right thing by opening up what I wanted to say. Hang on a minute.
Yeah, I can actually share my screen again if you like. You have the slide about it.
Okay, it's probably easier if I just
Yeah, this is not much written here, so yes.
yeah. No, I'd just so that I don't miss anything out. Okay. Well, I if anyone's interested, I'm offering a course in English pronunciation based specifically on the problems of Russian speakers with me. Okay. It's a course of one-to-one lessons, and in which we will look at 3 areas. One is problem sounds. So I particularly focus on vowel sounds, because I think that that's the important thing, especially for higher level students. So the thing that I think I mentioned with Nadia, actually, this idea of short vowel sounds and long vowel sounds and diphthongs, and just because what Russians tend to do is approximate 1 or 2 sounds, and therefore it's very difficult to get the difference between hat and heart and hurt and those things. Hit and heat. What's the other one? Oh, the other one is the sound. People say fashion instead of fashion, and those sorts of sounds. So we'd look at those particular problems, particularly the vowel sounds. And the second, which I think is, excuse me.
Should I share the checklist that you prepared? Should I post it in the chat?
Oh, you could do, yes. Yeah, and I'm happy for people to have that checklist if it's something that is useful for you. I put it for I prepared this checklist for me, actually, with a view to analyzing errors as I listen to people.
Okay.
Are you sharing it? No, but please share it. Yeah?
Okay, I've posted it in the chat. So there was a question like which other problems we tend to have. So here's an extensive checklist. You are free to download it, and if these issues are the issues that you are struggling with, you can improve it with Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned 1 or 2 here, so I've got if people are looking at it, or even if you're not. So just in breaking it down, and we'd have different sessions on each one, is the idea of put and part, pert and port. These long sounds are really difficult to get right. Sat and set. And the sound that I think I mentioned with Tasha, this O sound, the English O. Okay. There's consonant sounds as well, although I think that they're less of a problem unless you're kind of a low-level learner. I think at higher level. But the one area that's really difficult with consonant sounds that we'd look at is the way that plosive consonants work. So sounds like p, t, and k have to be produced. They're quite hard to say, aren't they? Because they are plosive, whereas in Russian you don't have those plosive sounds. So saying play and t, it gets a little bit like a d sound. And this okay. Anyway, sounds like that. I feel as though I'm being a bit too technical now. But what we'd look at is the very specific problems that high-level learners have, not the stuff that you find online between it and e and but and were, but what is really the problem. So this idea of actually, when I talked with Nadia about the idea that, are you saying your t and your d sound right? So in the course, I do it as one-to-one lessons with a 1-hour lesson every week. And I try to put it into blocks, say 10 weeks or 12 weeks, and then we can have a look at what progress we're making. And I also would, as part of the course, get you to record stuff so that I can listen to you, give you personal feedback, and then we can design the course that specifically looks at your areas. So, for example, with Katya, we would look at pitch and tone and intonation. And maybe with Nadia, we'd look at these plosive sounds and the devoicing consonants at the ends of words. Okay, have I said everything?
How do people sign up?
Yeah, precisely. Okay. Well, what we're asking you to do, if you're interested, please send either a plus sign or a thumbs up in the chat. And what we will do is to get in touch with you through Evgenia. Is that okay? Is that the best way to do
Yeah,
it?
well, it works pretty much. I can connect you with anybody.
Yeah.
I guess they could also schedule a session with you, like I did. We could do it right now. You have a very, very nice website where people could schedule interview or so with
That's right. If you go to, sorry,
yeah,
Evgenia,
just
if you
share,
go
share.
to that last slide that I've got, it actually
Yep,
has my
yep, I will.
email and website.
Yep, I'm sharing it in just no time. So
As you
everybody,
may have noticed, I'm very old, so the sort of digital technological side of it, I'm a little bit in the dark ages, I'm afraid. Sorry, can you find that? It's the last slide has got.
yeah, I have already shared the link.
Oh, you shared it. I'm sorry.
Yep, the link, which is quite convenient because you can schedule a session with Mike where you could discuss your specific requests and issues and start the course, your individual one. Although this interview does not necessarily bind you to take in this section, right? So.
No, that's right. So we could just and the original interview would be free. It would just be a 20 minutes just to see what you're looking for and what the course would be.
Yeah, as it is an individual course, it's the best way that you just schedule this short interview one-on-one as well, and then you decide whether you take the whole course or you don't, and so on. Just like we've just had those feedback sessions, but longer and one-on-one, and discussing all the managerial things like when you start, which day, and so on. The goals most necessary. Fine. So I hope you sign up. And now it's the time for questions, right? We have a couple of them. One has already been answered, I believe, with that checklist. Nasty, was it yours, right? Like which other mistakes people make? So yeah, we have a list of that. And there was another one. The funny one, can you speak with American accent?
Can I speak? Or
Yes.
what, you want me to do an American accent?
That was Luda's.
Well, I sure can try. No, it's terribly. I can do regional accents. So if you want to do Irish, I can do Irish for you. I can speak with an Irish accent, no problem at all. That's something because I've basically I got a bit of Irish ancestry in me, you know.
And Liverpool?
The accents, particularly from the north of Ireland, you know, around the Belfast area. Or if you like, I can do Manchester. I can do Liverpool. Liverpool's a bit like that, you know. You sound like John Lennon out of the Beatles if you talk like that. You know, because they all catch the thing about Liverpool is they catch you in the back of the throat like that. So
oh my God!
It's like what they're talking about because so cool. Or then I can do Manchesterite. You know, Manchester's more like that, very flat sounds. If you listen to Liam Gallagher or his brother Noel, they're kind of always moaning at you like that.
God,
Or if you want,
amazing. Thank you.
British is not the worst after all, right?
But I can't do American, I'm afraid. I can do Australian. Australian's more like that, you know.
Yay. Well.
Where I live in. I actually come from Cheshire, which is in the northwest of England, not far from Liverpool or Manchester. So I have very down here in Oxford, I have flat vowel sounds. So as you may know, if you come from the north of England, you'll say bath and path. Whereas if you come from London or the southeast of England, you say bath or path. So the big difference is that they have is in the vowel sounds between the north and south. But Americans would actually say a long ah, so they'd say bath or path. Okay.
Luda, and you had another question.
They're all right.
Sounds, right? I didn't quite get that one. Luda, did you mean?
Yeah, I have a question. So how many vocals do you have in English? Because in Russian there are, I don't know, 6, yes? So O,
You
and
mean
so on.
vowel sounds.
Vowel sounds.
Yes, vowel sounds, yes.
Yeah.
And in English?
Well, it depends on varieties, but approximately 20. Yeah. And the difference really is between is length. Yeah. So it's not that we have completely different vowel sounds that you've never heard of, but we have long sounds. So we have I and E, whereas Russian has a sort of sound in between. We have a and we have R. And we have like a and e, which are two very close sounds, which Russians find very difficult because I think you only have one sound for that sound. So approximately 20 is the answer to your question.
Thank you.
Yay. So Nadia had a very, very important question before we jump into this chit-chatting about accents and stuff. The question is whether, well, Nadia, why don't you ask it yourself, actually? Just unmute.
I can. So I teach different students, and some of them ask why it is so necessary to practice pronunciation, especially British. So we speak with people from different countries, and the most of them have English not as a native language, and we understand each other. What for? Why do you give us all these tasks and exercises? Sometimes I feel confused and I don't know what to say. And what's
I
your
can. Do you want my answer?
Mhm.
Yeah, is English is an international language. It no longer belongs to native speakers. It's not a language. So most people are learning English not because they want to go and live in England or they want to go and live in Texas. And if they do, then fine, go and live there and learn that accent. So your students are absolutely right. It's not about learning to speak like the king of England. But what all accents of English have in common is the things I'm talking about. Yeah. So on my course, I'm not teaching people to speak like me. I'm not teaching people to learn a Manchester accent or a London accent. But all speakers of English have a similar rhythm. All speakers of English use the stress time language, which involves a little pitch on the strong stress and reducing little sounds to I, or eh. That is common with all varieties of English. Yeah. So the answer to the question is no. You're not. You don't have to learn to speak British English. You don't have to learn to speak American English. It doesn't matter. But what is important is you need to approximate the rhythm and the sounds. So the problem with not getting the sound right is that it's not clear whether you said pat or put or part. It doesn't really matter whether you say it like a Brit, pat, put, part, or an American. I said it like an American then. Pat, put, part. Yeah. The difference, it's not about learning to speak like an Englishman. It's learning to approximate the rhythms and the tone and the stress of all Englishes. Does that answer your question, Nadia?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me too, because frankly, I don't focus on pronunciation when I'm teaching, just because, well, you make yourself understandable. That's okay. Well, but some people want more, yeah. And now I have this precise idea what it's all about. So, Mike, if you have a couple more minutes, we have some more questions.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer questions.
which are probably not that big or that crucial. So we've covered American pronunciation. What about you speaking Russian? Can you say the name Natasha? How do you sound?
Natasha.
Yeah, the sounds are different. Yeah, that's exactly the thing that one of us, one of the participants whose name it is, struggled with as she lived abroad. So here you go. Natasha, can you share the problem and how you solved it? Like unmute. Natasha, unmute. Press this microphone button. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, that was my question. Living in Texas, I had to change my name to Natalie because Texans with their twang, they absolutely could not say Natasha. They would say Natalia. And it sounded so terrible. I experimented many times. I was just like, please say ah, ah. Say ah, ah, ah. Ah, ah, ah. Say Natasha, Natasha.
Well, I have a friend called Vladimir, and he always says when he's speaking to an English audience, because it's part of his job, he has to talk. He says, "Hi, my name's Vladimir," as you would say it, but that's wrong. It's Vladimir.
Yep. That's why I'm Jane.
First syllable. Yeah.
That's why I'm Jane. Nobody in my course, which I did, my master program, which I did in an international group, like people from 9 countries or so, nobody could say Zhenya or Evgenia. So I went for Jane.
Yeah, your name is your name is a nightmare to an English speaker. What is it? Eugenia? Is it Evgenia? Oh, Lordy!
All sorts of pronunciations. The only people who could get it right are Greek, because it is Greek. Yeah, so they have no problems. When I say Jane, they're like, Zhenya, Evgenia. Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
Fine. So what else do we have? Nastya, what do you mean with being an actor? So if we pretend we are acting, it will help us get the intonation right. Yeah, so is it a life hack, Mike, if we think of ourselves as actors?
Yes, absolutely. And I tried to do that in my course because I do something called paced reading as part of the course, which is a technique that people use, for making a speech, but also that voice actors use, where you basically take lines of a speech or lines of a story or anything, and you break it into units of speech, and then you work out whether your voice is going up or down at particular points, and of course where the strong or prominent syllable is. And it is a life hack, because okay, to do it with the speech, you'd say something like, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my speech. Today I'm going to talk about biology, chemistry, and physics. Yeah, and you break it into different sections, and then imagine yourself saying it, and therefore there is an element of imagination like that. And I think thinking like an actor is a really good way of doing it. I think one of the brick walls that people have with pronunciation is that, wow, that's not me. It sounds really strange, And I've got students who are really advanced, like fluent, completely natural, live in England, completely natural, but they've managed to solidify a very strong Russian accent. And it's got to a point where people just say, "Oh, where are you from?" It's the first thing. Like, yeah, but I'm from Russia, but I've lived here for 20 years. And it's because they've allowed themselves to solidify. It's very easy. It's not very easy. It's very challenging, but it's very possible in the same way that Meryl Streep can speak with an Australian accent or an American accent or an English accent, is that you can put on that voice. So yeah, on my course, I do elements of voice coaching. Particularly 2 things. One is called attentive listening, where you listen really, really carefully to how people express themselves, and then you can imitate it. And the other is paced reading, where you break what you say down into sections.
Perfect. So everybody, if you're still hesitating whether to take the course or not, just sign up for that one-on-one consultation, which is free. I have dropped the link into the chat again. And I would like to hear from you now. So we are basically over. I'd like to have some feedback from you, especially those who have been silent and people whom I don't really know that much. So, what are you learning English for? And that's the first question. Why? Why are you here? What are you using English for? What are you learning English for? And secondly, what's your main takeaway from today? And just whoever feels courageous, just unmute and speak.
Can I ask one more question, Mike, please?
Sure.
Yes. For me, it was absolutely amazing lesson just to hear you, to hear this. I think we were speaking about this. You were speaking about this sort of a music of language when we were speaking about the necessity of good pronunciation, and for me, it looks like. Good pronunciation, I mean, for me, it is like high level of learning language, the highest level. And my question is, if it is a good, proper strategy to firstly to learn a grammar, to practice being fluently, and then to practice pronunciation, or it should be two things together.
Well, I think two things together. I think it's okay. I think okay. Pronunciation is okay. I think I'm a communicative language teacher. Okay, which means that in my lessons we study grammar. You know, if I'm doing mainstream lessons with intermediate level students, we study grammar, we study lots and lots of vocabulary, and then we practice it to get it accurate, and then we practice it to get fluent. Okay, and part of that fluency stage is to have constant feedback on any mistakes that you make, so that you don't get what we call ingrained errors, where you just keep making the same mistake until you can't stop yourself. Okay, it's exactly the same with pronunciation. You can, even at very low levels, beginner, elementary, correct poor pronunciation. Don't let it go. If you're a teacher out there, keep correcting the pronunciation. I think one of the problems is that most people learn English at school, and often the teacher that you've got is perhaps a little bit insecure about their own pronunciation, so that they avoid that area. They're not sure exactly. I mean, okay, they can correct when somebody is terrible, but they find it difficult to correct, you know, if they're not sure exactly. So sometimes it gets neglected because the teacher, and indeed the course, is too focused on the grammar, on the accuracy of the language, and not enough on that. But my answer to my long answer is the fact that you should integrate it all the way through, and it yeah is the short answer. And also, I mean, I'm focusing on very specifically looking at phonology, but actually it's a part of everything. So when I'm, I mean, I don't classroom teach anymore, but when I used to classroom teach, my feedback on speaking sessions was divided into two sections: language and phonology. So I would listen to students talking, and then I would give them feedback on both the language they used and how they said it. So I would give equal feedback on phonology as well as on grammar and lexis. Okay, that's my answer.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Perfect. So Natasha, you wanted to speak up. Unmute. Go for it.
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for being able to participate. It was absolutely lovely. I really enjoyed listening. Sorry, I'm a bit under weather. So it was absolutely lovely to hear a British native speaker. After so many years spent in America, it's just the ear just basically feeds on it. And Mike has been so forthcoming, so wonderfully giving feedback, and I loved it that you first praised what you've heard was right, and then gave very little, very subtle touches to what could have been improved. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. As for myself, I keep struggling with the idea, should I erase whatever I have in my pronunciation or should I not? Because after so many years, it has become, my voice is basically my trademark. And every time I just pick up the phone, people say, oh, hi, Natalie. Once you hear me, you remember how I sound. And a lot of people told me, just don't erase it. Just don't sound like everybody else. Be yourself. So
I think that's really interesting because what I'm hearing from Natalie here is that when she wants to do a Texan accent, she's good at it.
I could.
But you've actually got, I mean, there is an American twang to your accent, but it is noticeably Russian, yeah? So it sounds like
I never learned any English in Russia. I learned it in Germany.
Many years ago, I lived in Milan, and I had a Scottish friend, and his wife, and he'd been married for 10 years. His wife had two accents. She could do Scottish, and she could do Italian. So she talked to you like that. Oh, hello, Mike. It's nice to see you. How are you? But if she if she wanted to, she could suddenly turn into talking like a Scottish person like that. And I said, well, why don't you speak like a Scottish person? She says, it's terrible. I don't want to sound like a Scottish person. I like my beautiful Italian accent. So yeah, it is your choice, isn't it? It's how you want to sound.
And thank you for putting it so nicely. One of your countrymen once told me, well, it's obviously you're reeking of Yankee.
Reeking of Yankee, okay.
What does that mean, reeking?
Stinking.
Yes, smelling, stinking, yeah.
Got it.
Thank you very, very much. I really enjoyed it.
No, thanks. That's very nice. I'm enjoying it too.
Well, anybody else sharing your feedback, like what you've taken away from the almost hour and a half that we've spent together? It's Sunday after all, and you.
Yeah, I can see it's Sunday in Ludmila's house.
Yep.
The family's turned up.
Yep, that's the first time I've seen Luda's son. Actually. Say hi. So, well, if nobody's willing to speak up, it's fine, and we can just call it a day. So please don't forget this link. I am posting it again. And you are very, very welcome to participate in all the activities in the group. So this session was especially for the EngPower Network you are part of. And I'm really proud to have given you this opportunity. So please stay in touch, and there will be more interesting opportunities to come. The next one will probably be a mastermind session where we kind of consult each other and share our experiences with the issues that we face. And I'm going to update you soon. But for now, the highlight is Mike and his course. So if you want to sound properly, beautifully, like the way you could, take this opportunity, leap at it, and sign up here for a one-on-one session before you join the course or not. But anyway, it's your chance. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your feedback and writing as well. Thank you. Thank you. And have a nice day today, everybody. I'm sharing the recording actually in a couple minutes as soon as it gets processed. So you can rewatch it if you like. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Okay, so I hope somebody signs up, but even if they don't, so far I will still distribute the recording. I will post it, and I will also mail it to couple thousand people, or thousand. I wish it were thousand.
Yeah, wow.
Couple hundred actually, but still.
That's still a lot.
I would love it to be couple thousand, but we're working on it. So I hope somebody watches it as well and signs up. And I have to.
That was great.